He does it all for Fox Sports, whether it be their World Cup coverage next summer. You see him every weekend for college football, and that just means Big East Hoops is coming back soon.
Dang straight. It's right around the corner. You guys had me doing my research yesterday. I appreciate it. I got a couple cheat sheets in my back pocket.
Rob Stone.
We're already talking, you and I were already talking what teams from the Big East are going to make it to the NCAA tournament. We're in September, for crying out loud.
Well, it's 6 weeks out. I see 4 locks, teams. And then we'll go from there.
Who's the fifth then? Who's the one that might sneak in?
Well, for us, we talk about all the time. Everybody who thinks that the Butler Bulldogs are going to take a step back, I won't believe it till I see it. And they return Keelan Martin and Kamar Baldwin. They're going to be A-OK.
I think people worried Creighton might take a step back
as
well.
No point guard.
But look how much they surprised us last year with the acquisitions.
Rob, get it on your radar. The St. John's Red Storm are for real this Big East basketball season.
He's running hot. He's running hot already, man. Coming in hot in September with St. John's. I would love to see St. John's be relevant again. I cannot wait for that St. John's Georgetown game.
Yes.
By the way, that is, I mean, my eyeballs. The date is circled. Let's go. Let's do this. I want Ewing and Mullen to have a stare down. I want them to wear cutoff T-shirts underneath their suits. I'm excited for Big East.
We went back in time last year.
Yeah, we did. It was good, and and the Garden was back, right? You could kind of feel it and smell it. That some of that animosity still out there. The two big giants want to collide again, and I think that's one of the many storylines already developing for the Big East.
That Tuesday nighter between Ewing and Mullen at the Garden is an FS1 doubleheader. Take us behind the scenes of a night like that, where you got Steve Lavin in studio, you got 2 Big East games on FS1. Take us behind the prep and behind the scenes.
I mean, it all develops around Lav, right? So everybody's day, the production grid is worked around when Lav decides to roll in on time, out of his Uber. The guy doesn't drive, right? So he doesn't drive, so he has to get driven to work.
He gets the shuttle service
every day. He's got people. He has handlers as well.
Have you ever been able to ride in the Lavin shuttle?
No, because it's an Uber. They sit outside and they're calling it. They're like, it should be here in a few minutes. We're not getting reception. Lav is in his own world, and he'll come in with, some of us are a little more streamlined with our research, and he'll have like this bag of paper, and it's like reams of paper, and I don't know if things are printed on it or not, but it's notes, it's phone calls, it's stats, what happened last night, and that guy's all over the place during basketball season in a good way. So he's so dialed in, you just kind of, you have to throw a question at him, and there's like a 1-100, 2-100, 3-100. He's like, yes, the backcourt of Georgetown. We can hit this and this.
How long does the hair and makeup take for Coach?
His shorter than you think, because the hair just kind of moves there on its own. It like wakes up and it just wants to go in that direction, and it's just how much product or little product goes in there. It's more his shoe game these days that he spends most of the time on. But I love working with him. He's an absolute delight. He cares about the game. He cares about the kids. Cares about the product. He's got the history, he's got the intelligence, and that cat grinds during basketball season now. I mean, there are no days off for him when it's tip-off time.
How much involvement did you have in the Big East at all? Because at ESPN you did college football and soccer primarily. Like, how much did you know about the conference in terms of covering before you got to Fox?
A ton. I grew up in Connecticut, so I grew up watching ACC and I grew up watching Big East basketball. So when the UConn Huskies were not the UConn Huskies, they were just a team, and they started to become a program that got some wins and could make some noise, and then became what they are. So through that, I would end up watching some Seton Hall games and some Providence games, and of course the Georgetown and the St. John's, what they were in the heyday of the Walter Berry and the Mullins and company. I would watch that because I was a college basketball kid. I had time down in Tobacco Road, and then I moved up to Connecticut. So that was really my sport, more so than NFL, more so than college football. So I was dialed in on the history and what everything meant in relation to going back and going forward. So college basketball and the Big East have always been in my blood.
Since the realignment, when Fox has started really going all in on Big East basketball, what makes this conference and this league special compared to some of the other conferences and sports you cover?
Well, I mean, it's clearly unique in that we have a very tight relationship with the conference, and I love that. And I think there's a lot of conferences out there who wish they had the relationship that the two entities like that have. Plus the fact that basketball is its sport, and no disrespect to the lacrosse and the track and fields and the soccers out there, but this is the reason the Big East is there, is because of basketball. So basketball season really matters on campus. That's what it is. That's what people are talking about. The media days are going on. You know, when all the other conferences are still wrapping up football, you're distracted. But when it's basketball time for the Big East, it's basketball time for the Big East. There's nobody else stealing your attention. It's all eyes on these teams. And you know, I think when it formed back again, there was so much pressure put on the big giants. And I love the fact that it's the new teams that have added so much quality and value to the conference. I get excited that no longer are people saying, "Oh, it's the new Big East," and it's, "Oh, that's right, Creighton's in there and Butler's in there." Oh, no. They're now an accepted member, and it's done nothing but elevate the stature of the conference in everybody's eyes.
How many conferences and their TV networks could go surfing in Hawaii together?
Right, exactly. When is that trip again this year? It's not happening. It's not happening.
Bring it back.
Very upset about it, but that was a
bring it back.
heck of a boondoggle. I don't get many boondoggles.
You did a great job.
That was a good boondoggle.
I did not. Fair as well.
Yeah, it was a fun trip.
Now, we're really lucky because we've got Rob in our New York City studios today. You don't get to New York City too
Not as often as I would like.
But you do get there once a year, and that is at Madison Square Garden for the Big East Tournament. How special is that week? I know it's a grind. You got a lot of games to cover, but there's nothing quite like
a good
Big
grind.
East Tournament.
It's a great grind. You know what you're getting yourself into for those pocket of days. You know, you got to get through day two. You know, where you have the morning session and the evening session. That's your punch in the head, and then it's like, oh, wait a second. Now here we are. It's fun time. This is everything gets amplified and magnified, and there's something about the Garden, right? It's just something different, and people may not understand it. And I was just telling some salespeople yesterday. They were kind of sports neophytes, and I said, "Hey, you got to do what? You haven't done this yet?" And I'm yelling at them. And then I said, "You're in Boston." They're like, "Yeah, we're all Boston." I'm like, "Well, then get your tail down to the Garden for Big East tournament time, because it's something different. You know, become a Providence bandwagon fan. That's fine. I don't care. Just do whatever it takes to get there, because it is a different vibe. It is a different feel. There's the history. There's the nostalgia, but there's also this lure of something big is going to happen, and it's on the most famous stage out there.
And you get to go to campuses from time to time with the Gavitt tip-off games.
I wish I could do it more.
Yeah.
It's so for me selfishly. It's great to see the coaches. It's better to get more acquainted with the program, because there is a lot of turnover in basketball, and to get those early storylines with the players, with the coaches, to know really what the makeup of this team is, rather than just reading it off, you know, the laptop and the phone. So to press the flesh, to see him up close, to say, whoa, that is a legit freshman that just rolled in, and he is going to take some minutes. And I'm now excited about program A, B, and C.
Bill Raftery, word association.
I mean, how many words?
Right. Yeah.
You know, legend is the easy one. Grandfather, and I mean that in a really nice way. You know, he's a guy that I see, and I want to hug him and kiss him on the cheek. You know, he has some legendary antics and abilities about him, which are fantastic to be a part of. I mean, it's like bucket list to look. Let's be honest, it's bucket list to go out with Raph for a night, which usually turns into a morning.
Right.
And you have it, and like you want to call your friends and like, hey, I had Raph night last night, and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah. Raph and I, we went out and it was. I had a Raph night.
How does he keep that energy in the tank?
It's amazing.
How does he do
I don't
that?
know what he does. I don't know what vitamins he takes, what elixir he has. The guy is just, you know, and I don't want to make light of it, but he is legendary.
Absolutely.
You know, when he's in town, programs know he's there, and the head coaches and the assistant coaches want to be around him and talk to him and just be in his presence. And it's not so much the X and O's type talk, it's just the stories and where he's been and what he sees. But it's not like he shows up and he's a one-trick pony of, you know, the man, and, you know, he does these lines, right? It's genuine knowledge. And he's dialed in on these teams, and he knows strengths and weaknesses. He knows if this is a 7-man rotation, 8-man rotation, 9-man rotation, this recruiting class coming in, where they stand. He is an absolute living legend, who still has his fastball.
In the headlines this week, Twitter potentially expanding to 280 characters. What does that do for Steve Lavin?
Well, more hashtags. Number one. So
There-
so
Do
there's
you have
more?
favorites?
I,
I like Share the Sugar.
he needs some new stuff. He needs to freshen things up a little
Wow.
bit. Yeah,
That's a
not
call-out,
it's not
Coach.
it's not a pot shot. I think he's ready for that next level of bringing some more things out there. His hashtag game is so strong,
It
and
is.
it cracks me up because I'll be rolling through it and I'm like, Lav, what is he doing? Like, oh, there's a picture, and I'm like, wait, I don't know. I don't even know why. Why the need for all these hashtags? What it
LA
is.
Life.
And now that it expands,
Yeah.
I can't wait to physically scroll through the tweet to see all the hashtags.
It's unbelievable to me. And the other thing about him is, I just like he could go on for minutes. For when you have to fill a little bit.
He
of
has
time.
gone on for a minute.
How have you gotten to
He
a
does.
break? Have you ever been up against a break? And yeah,
All the time. Yeah. But also, we have some pretty long fills.
Those can
And
be-
there's
yeah.
some times, this is great, in our world, we all have the look, right? We can give each
Really?
other the look of like, hey man, you need to buy me some time because I got somebody yelling in my
Right.
ear and I just threw away 5 shot sheets over here and now, oh, you want them back now? And so I'll look at Lav and I'll give him this like, go. And then the camera cuts to Lav and I'm fishing for paper and I'm pulling them out and I'm getting this and he's kind of looking at me. I'm like, not ready yet. Keep going, keep going. And the beauty is, yeah, all right, you know, he can go to his crutch lines and say these things and he'll kind of look at me like, are you ready, Stone? I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I can give you another question. I can take some highlights. You can breathe. He's great.
We got to mention,
we're lucky.
you
Yep.
were in New York City because of the exciting news that the World Cup is coming to Fox Sports this
Mm-hmm.
summer. How excited are you to, being a soccer guy your whole life, that it's finally here this summer? Hopefully the U.S. is playing, and you'll be covering a World Cup in Russia.
It's the greatest sporting event out there right now. It's surpassed the Olympics. The patriotism that's involved, the unifying that goes on among fan bases. For me, it's really special because I've been able to see it grow so much. I was a fan when the U.S. hosted it in '94. I drove from Albany, Georgia, where I was working local TV, to Orlando with my girlfriend at the time, who became my wife, and we took in a random Belgium World Cup game. Like, I didn't even care who was playing. I just wanted to be a part of it. To covering it in '98 and seeing the low expectations for the tournament and the low priority that was placed on it to where it is now, 350 hours, Valerie, 350 hours of World Cup programming coming your way
insane.
this summer.
Wow.
We have a set right in Red Square. I mean, right in Red Square.
Incredible.
The amount of money that we're putting into the promotion and to the product, absolutely unparalleled, and it is going to be a hell of a ride this summer.
I'd like to see you on a set at the same time with Fernando Fiore and Bill Raftery. That would just be
Pretty good one.
That would be
It's a pretty good one.
unbelievable.
See, because Raph could handle it.
Right.
Yeah, well, but could
Fernando just the studio roof.
Well, he sucks the air out of the room sometimes, and he destroys all rundowns. So we had a 35-minute sales presentation last night, and I'm like, they know Fernando's involved, right? Because he's going to take 25 of it instead of the 7.5 he's allocated. Yeah, Raph and Fernando. That's not a bad one. That might have to. I might be able to see if I can get that to happen.
little, not wife swap, show swap. You get Fernando doing Big East basketball, and you get Raph doing a little World Cup
Crossover.
qualifier. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we can't do the wife swap. Fernando can't play that game. That's not his. We know Mrs. Raph is one of the best. Raph is not letting her go. She's legendary.
Rob Stone does everything. I don't even know when he sleeps. Thanks, Rob.
I'm going to bed right now.
Just gonna sleep in the back.